TNA's Bound for Glory, the biggest TNA pay-per-view of the year, comes to us from Detroit, Michigan on Saturday night. And I am looking forward to this event. TNA over the last year has literally taken the wrestling industry by storm. It's almost like it's come back from the dead, and I love everything about TNA. And we could even call it TNA NXT because we got NXT people involved in this as well. And it's amazing. This little cross-branded fixture that TNA and NXT have been working with has been perfect for what TNA and NXT need to grow to be mainstays in the wrestling industry. I'll tell you right now, I watch way more TNA than any other wrestling promotion outside of WWE. And if you don't watch TNA, you need to start watching it or join my Twitch channel. Come and enjoy TNA Bound for Glory on Saturday night. But anyways, guys, on to the predictions. Josh Alexander versus Steve Macklin. One of the biggest, longest standing feuds in TNA currently. These two have been through wars with each other for over a decade. Both of them are solidified TNA Hall of Famers, and really this match is just going to be who wants it more. The story between Josh and Steve and the vignettes outside of the arena has been what TNA has been missing for a very long time. It takes me back to the Aces and Eights and all the vignettes that they used to do back in the day. The stuff they used to do with Christopher Daniels, the Fallen Angel. This has felt like old school TNA to me, and I've loved every second of it. I think this is just the beginning of a very long Josh Alexander heel run. And this is probably his first or second feud since turning heel. He did really attack Joe Hendry earlier this year, but this really is solidifying his heel prowess and persona. So I'm going with Josh Alexander. I know Steve Macklin probably deserves a win here, but I think Josh Alexander, for the process of this character, I think Josh Alexander deserves this. But either way, with these two wrestling against each other, everybody is a winner. Speedball Mike Bailey versus Vikingo for the NXT X Division champion. First off, I don't care who wins. I don't care who wins. Does anybody actually understand how good this match is going to be? If you have never watched Speedball Mike Bailey in a match, and you have never watched Vikingo in a match, crazy stuff happens. Like, the craziest happens on one of these matches. Speedball Mike Bailey and Vikingo are two of the most under-respected in professional wrestling because these guys just go out and put on 5-star caliber matches all the time. So really, I don't care who wins. I don't know if Vikingo has a long-standing partnership with TNA. I know he comes back and forth every now and again, but I personally think Mike Bailey continues his X Division run, so I'm going to go with Mike Bailey for this match. But seriously, Mike Bailey versus Vikingo? Yes, it's on pay-per-view, but I would pay, even though this TNA card is fire, I would pay just for this match the $39.99. So going into this X Division Championship, it's going to be a true X Division Championship match. Everyone just sitting on the edge of their seats, but I'm going with Speedball Mike Bailey, and still, damn, this match is going to be good. Spitfires, Jody Threat and Danny Luna versus Rosemary from TNA and Wendy Chu from NXT for the Knockouts World Tag Team Championships. Jody Threat and Danny Luna only recently just won these titles from the System and Masha Slamovich. So I would love to see an NXT wrestler holding a TNA title on NXT. It needs to happen. Like, it needs to happen. Is it going to happen in this match? No. Rosemary and Wendy Chu don't have a shot. But just remember what we saw on NXT. Wendy Chu just kidnapped Tatum Paxley. So we have the triplets of crazy and wild potentially being involved in this match. So could Rosemary and Wendy Chu win this match? Yeah. Do I want to see them win this match? Absolutely. Because this crossover between NXT and TNA has been perfect. But unfortunately, Spitfires, Jody Threat, and Danny Luna are going to retain their titles. But the storytelling in this match could be epic. And we could see in the future a TNA and NXT wrestler holding titles on opposite shows. And when that day comes, I personally will be a very happy man. The system's Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards versus the Hardys versus ABC for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. I think the system are hanging on by a thread when it comes to these tag team championships, and I believe that at Bound for Glory, it is going to be the resurgence of the Hardys. First off, we have 3 incredible tag teams that I believe deserve to be tag team champions, but the system has been champions for so long. Moose is not helping carry the team anymore. Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich lost their Knockouts tag team championships. So now it's just the tag titles. And I think at Bound for Glory, the system crashes and they are going to have a reboot. So personally, this is going to be one of those happy, let's everyone get really excited that the Hardys can have one more title run before the Swan Song. And I personally believe that the Hardys are going to come out on top on this match. But again, with everything on this card, this match is going to be a banger. So Hardys and new NXT Tag Team Champions. Mike Santana versus Moose. This is a match I really wish we got in HOG House of Glory, because Mike Santana could have put his title on the line at HOG. But Moose, Mike Santana, this is going to be a brutal match. These guys are going to beat the holy hell out of each other. And you know what? I'm here for it. Moose is coming off, not being the TNA champion anymore. Mike Santana has had an incredible resurgence on the independent scene and has really been able to tell some great stories. Him in House of Glory is what Mike Santana has needed to really build himself as an independent wrestler. And I love it. Now, when it comes to who's going to win this match, I don't think they're going to put Mike Santana over on Moose in Moose's division. Moose is TNA. TNA is Moose. Unless we have a rumor that Moose is kind of moving away from TNA and he's going to be out of the TNA championship picture, I don't see a lot for Moose in TNA except for filler matches. And this is what Mike Santana versus Moose is. It's still going to be a great match, but this is not the match we're coming to Bound for Glory to see. I think Moose has some opportunity over in NXT and potentially into WWE into 2025. So personally, I think this is going to be a massive W in Moose's division and Moose's show of TNA. Moose over Mike Santana, but don't let this take away anything from Mike Santana. I think there is a lot of opportunity here for Mike Santana to really grow in the TNA brand and potentially get that opportunity to get that NXT crossover. PCO and Matt Cardona in a Monsters Ball match for the TNA Digital Media Championship. The Digital Media Championship has been one of the most important titles on TNA over the last year. It has brought eyes to TNA thanks to the work that AJ Francis was doing with a bunch of the content creators, the storylines that have been able to be created with the Digital Media Championship and social media has been fantastic. PCO, unfortunately, I believe has been a placeholder for this title, but I'll tell you right now, he has done it justice. And just remember, PCO is crazy. This man is damn near 60, and he is putting on matches where he's taking bumps outside the ring on concrete and getting up and still able to wrestle another 20 minutes. But this title has Matt Cardona's name written all over it. And to annoy the Detroit crowd, PCO is dropping this title, and Matt Cardona is going to do this title justice just like AJ Francis did. The Digital Media Championship needs to be with someone that is super active on social media that can help build a brand. Matt Cardona is walking out, well, I'm not saying he's going to walk out well, but I am going to say Matt Cardona is walking out of TNA's Bound for Glory as the digital media champion. Now, guys, can I throw a little twist into this? When was the last time that we saw Matt Cardona link up with Chelsea Green? Because guess what? The opportunity's here. Chelsea Green is actively working on NXT, and we do have that NXT crossover with TNA. I say Matt Cardona wins his digital media championship with the help of his wife, Chelsea Green. Now, I should have started with this match, but I think there's a significance and importance to this match. This is the 20-person intergender call your shot gauntlet. So they win a trophy, and it's basically TNA's Money in the Bank. You get a contract, 1-year contract to cash in at any time you're choosing. And this is an intergender match. It's got Frankie Kazarian, it's got Sami Callihan, Laredo Kid, Jake something. Jake something's incredible, by the way. And then obviously the big name in this match is AJ Francis. This is also an opportunity where a bunch of NXT talent could cross over to TNA and be utilized in this match. A Wes Lee, a Obafemi. You can have almost anyone, but you can't think of the guys that are on Halloween Havoc here because they would have just wrestled the night before. But you never know. It's professional wrestling and crazier things have happened. I'm hands down saying right now, you also have to look at the talent that are on NXT in the women's division. I just mentioned in my last prediction that Chelsea Green could get involved in TNA's Bound for Glory. Imagine Chelsea Green with a contract to cash in on the TNA Women's Championship. Do you know how much of a nuisance it could be that Matt Cardona could be the digital media champion and Chelsea Green is holding on to a contract for the women's title, the Knockouts Women's Championship? The internet would go mental, and they would be the biggest nuisance on social media. I think TNA should book it, but I don't think it'll happen. AJ Francis has had an incredible run in TNA, and I'm telling you right now, AJ Francis is the one that needs to win this contract just because of what could potentially happen later on in the night at Bound for Glory. So for me, the 20-person intergender call your shot gauntlet is going to come out as AJ Francis winning the trophy, because AJ Francis is just going to be a nuisance with a trophy and a contract. But I'll tell you right now, I would book it to be Chelsea Green, but AJ Francis for the W. The TNA Knockouts Women's Championship, Jordynne Grace, the Juggernaut, versus Masha Slamovich. Sorry, guys, this is the end. In Adele's words, Jordynne Grace is on her way to WWE, and I don't even think it's the NXT women's roster at this point, because that thing is so stacked. I think Jordynne Grace gets lost. I think Muscle Mommy is heading to Netflix, on to Monday Night Raw. So right now, Jordynne Grace and Masha Slamovich is one, if not one of the biggest legends in TNA, in the Knockouts division, and on the independents. She's incredible. My first introduction to Masha Slamovich was GCW in Toronto last year, where she faced Speedball Mike Bailey and got put through the ring. I don't mean padding. I don't mean a false cave-in ring. I mean, they tore the ring apart, moved the plates or panes of wood, and they got put through to the concrete. Masha Slamovich is a beast, and she deserves the prize for her efforts. Jordynne Grace has done her job as TNA Knockouts World Champion. It is time for Grace to move on with Grace to the WWE, and we move Masha Slamovich into that title picture where we can actually have a women's division that is on a level playing field, because Jordynne Grace is above all in that division. So I'm just saying Jordynne Grace with the L, unfortunately, but Muscle Mommy is on her way to WWE, and I am looking forward to that, guys. So Masha Slamovich and new TNA Knockouts World Heavyweight Champion Nick Nemeth versus Joe Hendry for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship with special guest referee Frankie Kazarian. Now, Frankie Kazarian has said he's going to call it right down the middle. We're also talking about Frankie Kazarian. He's a leech. He's the guy that always screws everybody over. Frankie Kazarian only cares about Frankie Kazarian. But this is the biggest thing. It is Bound for Glory. It is TNA. It is the TNA's biggest pay-per-view of the year. It's Nick Nemeth, one of the hottest wrestlers on the indies, versus Joe Hendry, the biggest known wrestler on social media and had the greatest year of his life. If Joe Hendry doesn't walk out with the TNA title, and guess what? Detroit's going to riot because I don't see Joe Hendry winning. Nick Nemeth has only just won the TNA championship. But I'll tell you right now, Nick Nemeth is probably not walking out as TNA champion either. AJ Francis is not a patient man. I think AJ Francis walks out with the TNA World Championship. I think TNA needs to reward AJ Francis for what he's done this year. He's been great. But I also see if Joe Hendry wins, I will be so happy because he deserves it. He deserves the push because of the run he's been on. But again, Joe Hendry is so close to becoming a WWE superstar. So we don't know. But I'm saying Nick Nemeth wins. And just remember who's got one of the greatest cash-ins of all time. It's Nick Nemeth. And I think he gets cashed in on by AJ Francis. So guys, those are my predictions for Bound for Glory. Meet me on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/MrTeshk. And let's watch Bound for Glory together because TNA is one of the best wrestling promotions in the world right now. So, guys, let me know your predictions in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and put the bell on for all notifications that are the MrTeshk Wrestling channel. And like always, be good people.